Let's do a quick weather update for Wisconsin. It's the evening of Tuesday, January 6th, and we're looking at the European weather model here. We had some rain across most of the state this morning. That's finishing up and moving out. A little bit of mixed precip in the northern half of the state. As we move into Tuesday night and Wednesday, it'll mostly be dry, maybe a little bit of drizzle. Relatively mild though. Temps again will be above freezing in most of the state, around 40 in the southern part. Wednesday, pretty nice overall, mild, maybe a little bit of sun by the afternoon. But by the time we get into Thursday, the next system will already be knocking on the door. See an area low pressure moving in from the Kansas and northern Oklahoma region. This system will be moving pretty quickly, but it will bring some heavy rain along with it. I think we could see up to an inch in some parts. Now it looks to be mostly rain, but it could also mix a little bit of snow in the northern and central parts of the state. But I think accumulations will be relatively minimal here, as temperatures will likely be above freezing. But this system moves out quickly and we dry out on Friday. But then there's a lot of questions where we go from here. And I think the models are really in disagreement. Now the European is showing another system kind of riding along this boundary between warm and cold air. And where it sets up will be crucial. The timing, along with how much it's able to strengthen. You see, it's painting some snow here as we get into Saturday across a good part of the state. So with this look, maybe most of the state gets a few inches. We'll see. Does it deepen enough when we get more, or is it too progressive and the system pushes through mostly dry? We'll definitely have to wait and see, so stay tuned for any updates, but I think a good majority of the state at least has a chance of seeing more precipitation, potentially snow, as we go into this weekend. And then after that, it's really up in the air. I think we get a brief shot of cooler air into Sunday, but that does moderate very quickly into Monday and Tuesday. I think we'll be back above freezing and relatively mild into these days as that ridge tries to build back into the central US. But then after that, things really get questionable as we go over a week out in time. I do think that we'll get more reinforcing shots of cold air and potentially chances for snow as we go into the middle part of next week. There's a system moving through around Wednesday, and then that starts to drive the colder air much further south. And I do think this continues. The models are trending cold as we go 10 plus days out into the forecast. Here's next Friday with a system potentially coming through, bringing more cold air. I'll just let this run out to the end, and it looks like we keep a pretty active northwest flow, which would mean more chances for snow and more cold. But again, I don't like to put any faith in these models, honestly, much over 5 to 7 days out. So we'll just have to see where this goes. But winter's definitely not over, and I think once we get through this week, we really have more opportunities to see more winter weather across the state.